Hi, good afternoon. We're here with James Brown from Nomad Catering. How you doing, James?
I'm very well, thank you, Mike. Very nice to be on here talking with you. Looking forward to our chat ahead.
Excellent. Same here, same here. So, if you could give us a little bit of background for people watching as to who you are, what it is you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
So, my name is James Brown. I run a catering business in Harrogate called Nomad Catering. I'd like to think we're one of the market leaders in wedding catering in the North Yorkshire region. We operate generally within the Yorkshire region, but have been down to London and Wales and anywhere, to be honest, within the UK. We do corporate work as well as weddings, but that's primarily we do weddings. That's the majority of our work. And yeah, I've been doing it for 15 or so years. We've just moved premises to Cardale Park. So we were up at Follyfoot Ridge, just on the outskirts of Harrogate. We're still on the outskirts of Harrogate, a little bit nearer next to the police station in Harrogate. So quite local, into the centre of town and on the business park there.
Awesome. Growing business. So, what makes you different? What makes you stand out from the other people in that catering sector?
I'd like to think it's the bespoke nature of what we do. There's never one client that's the same for us. There's never one wedding menu that's the same for us. People nowadays aren't just wanting to pull something off the rail. They don't want something that's a package. They want to decide every single element. People have a lot more time to do that because people judge other people's weddings a lot more as well these days. You go to nicer weddings, the level has gone up, and it's not just okay to serve roast beef and Yorkshire puddings or chicken and a cream sauce at people's weddings anymore. And people talk about weddings, and that's probably where my business is doing so well, because you want people to come to your wedding, have an amazing day, remember the food and talk about it. And everybody's foodies today. Since the advent of the TV chef in the late 90s, Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver, people like that, everyone now knows how to cook. I'm sure even yourself, Mike, you could knock me a nice dish up. We wouldn't be talking about beans on toast. I'm sure there's something, and everyone knows how to cook, and everyone cooks at home. And when they go to a wedding, they want to eat food of that level. And we're also more in touch with food around the world as well. And that's where we come in. We love to look at new flavors, interesting ingredients that people haven't seen before, new modern approaches to wedding catering, and deliver something that they sit down on the day and they are blown away by, something quite theatrical, whether it might be one of our street food style serving, live pad thai stations, or we've got a little tuk-tuk that we do ice cream from. We've got a horse box that does wood-fired pizza. You name it, we pretty much do it. And we like to keep it fun and interesting, modern, move with the times, and not churning out the same old stuff all the time, really.
Excellent. I'll take that compliment about me being a good cook. I won't tell them.
You still haven't told me what you're going to cook, Mike, but we can leave that at this time at the end of the call.
We'll just roll with that. As I say, don't tell the missus, but there we go. So, what's the strangest thing you've ever had, or wackiest, or out there that you've done when it comes to this bespoke style catering?
I mean, how long have you got, Mike? I think off the top of my head,
one you can pick out.
I mean, in the last 24 hours, I've had somebody that wants a completely different menu for the top table compared to the rest of their guests. So they want premium stuff on the top table and good stuff on the rest of the tables. Yeah, I think every cuisine from around the world, we are asked to do things that we've never done before and become experts at them immediately. And particularly with certain cuisines, there are parents that come in and have all these recipes and know everything. And we're like, well, yes, we'll give it our best. And we get there eventually and we learn things, which is great. But it's just the diverse nature of it, and what people expect as well. It's managing expectations. People have some wonderful ideas in their head of what might be achievable, but there might be 15 million different things, and it's trying to basically bring them back down to a point where we know it's going to be enjoyed by the guests and we're going to be able to deliver it. Because it's all very well doing 15 million different dishes for you when you come in for a tasting for two people, but if we've got 120 people and we're in a marquee, we need to make this so it's achievable to the level that your guests are going to enjoy it. It's no point churning out all this stuff and it's just going to be not to that level. So I think it's the variety. Every client is different and has quite unique requirements, definitely, and just tuning into that, and trying to be reasonable and level with them and say, look, these are what you want. This is what we can do. And this is still going to be amazing, even though we're not going to have 20 million different dishes or whatever, because it's just not going to work. And that's the hard conversation that you have to have with the client.
I bet you've developed some good negotiation skills and some resilience,
Well,
adaptability over those 15 years.
I think I've realized, I mean, I'm a chef by trade. I'm not, it's not something I was put on this earth to do, Mike, to be honest with you. I went to university, dropped out. I was doing a computer science degree, which I hated, went and did ski seasons, worked as a chef here and there, always had a massive passion for food. And I can cook very well. But in terms of the organizational side, and that's generally why the kitchen team don't allow me in there. I'm more about development now and menu planning and all that kind of, talking with the clients, getting their requirements and quoting and all that kind of front end of the business now. So I try and avoid the kitchen as much as possible, apart from other weekends. Generally, when it's the big marquee weddings, I do like to be there in the kitchen to send the food out, because then I know I've got my control level in that, definitely. But it's not something I was put on this earth to do, definitely being a chef. But now that I've reached this level where I'd like to think amongst our colleagues within the catering world in Yorkshire, we're certainly seen as one of the better ones out there, and we're recommended at a lot of the high-end venues in the region. And that's why we do get so many inquiries, particularly at this time of year. January is a very busy time for us, because you've got 20 or so, 25 of the premium, we'd say, venues in the region all recommending us. And there is a much more of a requirement, a demand for people to go for those kind of DIY venues more so than the hotels at the moment, certainly, because you're getting the bespoke nature of what we offer, which is not something that you can generally get at a hotel. You have a bigger team at a hotel. It's a chef that's maybe stuck in the ways, doing what they do. They have the set packages. Well, you look like it or whatever. We can't really do much, whereas we pretty much from start to finish offer that really the personal touch. And I think that's why our business has just grown exponentially over the last 5 years. Certainly since lockdown, when we're doing about 80 weddings a year before lockdown, and then it grew to 140, and then last year 220. So it just keeps going up more and more, and new venues keep opening as well, which is great. There's new ones on the horizon all the time. So and to get invited to work at these venues is a real sign that they believe in what we do.
So after all that experience, or in a summary of that experience, how would you describe the business journey in one or two words?
Tough. It's catering. It's tough. It's
tough.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing's easy. Nothing is easy. Staffing issues are always in catering. It's a very transitional workplace. There's always fresh jobs out there for the people, so it's about retaining people. I think that's the main thing in catering, having a team of people around you that you can rely upon to deliver what you do and want to do without you being there all the time. And I'm lucky that we've now built a team of 9 or 10 full-time staff that have been with me for quite a while, that I can rely upon and depend upon, and that was probably a big change in the last few years. Very transitional, very short-term staff. They'd come and do a year, and then so that's really started to build a grounding for us now that we are a bigger operation. I need those people I can rely upon. But yeah, there's just challenge upon challenge within catering, hospitality. And I think one of my major skills in all of this is problem solving, because we have problems to deal with on a regular basis, daily basis, new problems, and lateral thinking, and trying to still deliver what we do despite other things being thrown into the mix, outside of our control, sometimes inside our control, excuse me. But just delivering no matter what. And that's what you've got to do. Relentless ability and passion to strive to give the client what they want, no matter what. And over COVID times, it was tough. It was really tough, having to transform the business to doing takeaway meals and street food and things like that. Resilience is paramount to what I do. I have to believe in what I do and what we do, and the just never say die attitude, really. And that's the most important quality I think I've had to have in the 15 years, and I still have to have every day. You know, you have to find a way. There's no's not a word sometimes. But then on the other side of that, I'm in with experience and age, I'm starting to realize that sometimes you have to say no to the client. You can't be a yes man, because then you make life more difficult further down the line. So that's probably the key skill. Maybe a further question that we're coming on to, but the key skill I have learned is that sometimes you do need to say no, because in the end, it's going to be better for the client if you can explain to them why we can't do something.
Is that the biggest lesson you've learned, would you say? Or is there another one?
I would say so, because I've always been a bit of a yes man. I've always been a people pleaser, and that's probably why, Mike, I'm best in the hospitality industry. My major passion is to see people enjoying our food, loving what we're doing, knowing that we've got 5 or 6 weddings on a Saturday, and every one of them is going well, and everyone is thinking of us and you know, our reputation is so high in Harrogate and the wider area. And yeah, I'd say resilience and never giving up. That is something I've always had to rely upon within myself, and a self-belief that no matter what, we will do it. And you know, dark times through COVID, it was actually a great time for me personally. I loved life. I wasn't getting out of bed at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I was sitting in the sun, drinking gin and tonics and spending time with the children. But you know, coming out of that the other side, and seeing a lot of my competitors falling by the wayside, it was very sad. But you know, it also made me realize that the way I've run the business and tried to be a little bit more reasonable and live within my means and not stretch myself too far, and continue to do that to this day as well. Knowing who you are, what you are, and just not going to go too big too soon. And even now, I'm still conscious that we've moved to a bigger unit. We're doing more weddings, but also I don't want to just go hell for leather. I need to have a little bit of control there.
Great, thank you. Just to go back on one of the points you made about developing a team that is around you, that you can rely on. What do you think is the key to having that? Is there
communication?
Yeah,
communication in everything, honesty, trust, just big things that we all need in life. But keeping that communication up. And something I have struggled with is passing on the power, you know, and relying on people. I have struggled with that. So I'm always working on that myself. But yeah, just knowing that you have the right people in place to do what they need to do, and trusting them to do that, and letting them, you know, flourish in that situation, I suppose.
definitely something that would resonate with other business owners is giving away that.
It's hard, Mike, when you've set up a business yourself and you've done everything yourself, and you know everything's done the way you want, to then say, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. So it is hard, and I'm still working on it.
Well, we're all working on lots of things, so you're not alone there in terms of developing how you can get better at your business, for sure. So if you were to give a piece of advice for someone starting out in business, they came to you and said, James, I'm thinking of starting a business, what one piece of advice would you give?
I personally have always relied upon people around me for support, and it can be a very isolating place when you start up a business. So I would always say to think of your ideas and how you want to progress, and have a bit of a plan in your head. But there's nothing wrong with asking for help and asking for advice, and don't always believe that what you think is the right way. Be open to change. I've always been open to change and other opinions and whatever. Obviously sometimes you need to make your mind up. You don't want to be going around in circles, but have the ability to adapt is key, and to listen to people, listen to what your customers are saying, and be able to change what you do to make sure that you are the right fit for your clients. I would say, years ago, the way we did things and when I first started out is quite different, to the way we do things now, and that's because we've learned lessons as we've gone along. And don't think that you're the only person out there that's making mistakes. Everyone as a small business starts somewhere, and just have that belief in yourself just to keep going. And if it's something that you know in your head is right and something that you care about and that you're passionate about, then just keep doing it and keep striving and just give everything to it. That's what you've got to do when you're starting out a business. I was watching Dragon's Den, and Stephen Bartlett said, in that key phase, that first start of the business, it's utter and complete focus. And that's what it has been and always will be for me. Focus, not wavering, and relentless passion to succeed.
Fantastic. Great share. So you mentioned passion there, inspiration. What do you use for inspiration? Is it obviously the work that you do and seeing the clients enjoying themselves, the customers, and the work of your team, family, friends, anything like that you can share?
Well, it's got to start with the family, obviously. Very proud of them, and very proud of being able to, give them hopefully a good start in life. That's very important to me. I've always been a big family man, brought up, that way as well. So that's probably one of the most driving factors. Reputation in the area, and knowing that I've got a team of people that, I've got to go out there and we've got to win enough business and have a good enough reputation to keep things going. And it makes me proud to know that that's the case. And, I think we all, as we said off the call, Mike, have ups and downs in business, and we have ups and downs with the staff all the time. But generally, we've got a good team of guys and who all like working what we're doing, proud of what we do, and they have to have the passion in catering, in hospitality. It's very clear if you've not got it. So when you're doing a client-facing role like that, you have to be like, the swan all the time, happy, lovely, everything's great, while underneath, actually, the van's broken down, or the generator's packed in, or this diet requirement's just come up and we didn't hear about it. But we have to, so yeah, the motivating factors are certainly my family, providing for them, providing a nice work environment to people of, and for Nomad to be seeing at the venues that we work at as one of the best. And we're picking a few venues at this year that, I'm really, really happy to work at, really top end, and continue to work with new venues. And that makes me extremely happy, definitely. And to start in a small sandwich shop, I was 10 grand turnover in my first year, so I lived, by very small means to start out with, did lots of hours, didn't see my wife, to last year turned over 1.5 million. So it's to grow it from that, from a small little sandwich shop, it makes me incredibly proud. And I just want to, continue to push what we can do. Whilst not, I don't want to get too big, to be honest with you. I'm quite happy in this area now with the number of staff, and working on increasing the variety and pushing what we do.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing all that. So lastly, if there's any latest news, I mean, you've covered a fair bit with what you're doing at the moment, but
Yeah.
news, or even if it's just the website to find out where we can go to and
So
get
yeah, just before Christmas, we did the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, second year in a row. Incredibly proud to do that. Actually felt like I should have shared it with the Stray Ferret. I think I missed a trick there, but hopefully we'll get some traction from this interview, Mike. So you never know, they might ask us back for the third year, and maybe let Stray Ferret know ahead of that. Doing a big event with Grocery Aid in April at the Yorkshire Event Centre. Very happy to be invited to do that for 1,200 people. Something quite large that we've not done before for those numbers. So that's, something great for the business. working quite a lot with a marketing PR company in London who are doing some stuff with Apatina and Anchor as a promotional range at some pop-up Indian things, and we did a pizza thing with the Castello cheese early December as well, which was great. So just sort of spreading out and in the variety of what we're offering, whilst continuing to work with all our brides and grooms. We've got another 200 this year already, looking to probably increase that probably a little bit more to the level that we're at last year. And if anybody wants to check us out, the best place is Instagram and our website. So Nomad Catering JB, if you want to find us on Instagram, and then the website is nomad-catering.co.uk. So there's lots of pictures and menus and things that we do on there. We try to keep the Instagram up to date. There's lots of stories on there, pretty much a few a week. So lots of ways of keeping in touch with what we're doing. We might have some pop-ups coming up in the near future as well between now and the busy season. So we'll always put those on our websites and Instagrams and things like that. So yeah, just watch this space. Really, it's an exciting time for the business. It's a generally tricky time for the economy. I think I would say we're at least holding our head up and doing well, and very proud of what we do, and continue to keep pushing. Really, that's all there is to it, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks, James. Absolute pleasure talking with you. Thank you for sharing all that you have. And yeah, I wish you all the best for the future of the business.
Thanks very much for your time, Mike. Appreciate that. Cheers, mate.